welcome everybody. I'm so excited you're all here. Connections certification, there's the K, is it was started back in February just to get our young adults, our next generation, connecting with our business community. But I noticed at the bridge of all of that, the networking, ribbon cutting, mixers, charity luncheons, there was nobody ever under 30. I just thought, how can we start incentivizing our next generation to get out there to meet the business communities? So the networking part of it was what we really want to encourage. And until we can get back out there and do that, and whatever it's going to look like, instead of handshakes and eye contact, it'll probably be hands over our heart and whatever it's going to be. Until that happens, we started this career path stories. And this is the 8th Zoom call we've had with a career of 3 business people every time. It's just been so inspiring. Common thread we've noticed in every single one would be that failure is really success, and as long as you learn from it, it's something to be congratulated and move forward. And as Gary said today, fall forward. You guys are just all awesome, and you all inspire me. So kind of the format, what we've done in the past is just ask you to about 5 or 6 minutes, tell your career path story, your blood, your sweat, your tears, the jobs you've had along the way, the triumphs, and in hopes that it will inspire all of us to hear your stories and realize that tough times have happened and we're in tough times now, but it'll all be okay. Bob, could you speak first? We'd love to hear your career path story.
Be glad to, Kimberly, and thank you for everything you do too. You are without a doubt one of the most active individuals in the Coachella Valley I have ever been. We go back what, 5-6 years at least? At least, yeah. Well, let me just say that I am a perfect example of someone who finds their passion late in life, well into my 3rd career. I started in the legal field. I was a criminal attorney, and then I went into corporate law, and then I went into the corporate world for 25 years. And the one thing, and now the last 10 years, I actually came out of retirement. My son is a doctor of physical therapy, and he opened up the first Avid clinic in India about 11 years ago. And I moved out here to retire, actually. And he basically called me aside and said, Pop, he said, you're going to get in way too much trouble out here without a job. So he said, I want you to think about maybe coming to work as a business director. So I brought 8 years of legal and 25 years of corporate background into a job that I've eventually found out I have a true passion for. And it was interesting because before I took it over, I told him, I said, well, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to come to work in your clinic as an aide. And I want to learn what we do, how we do it, and why we're so good at what we do. And I actually got my certification as a technician at the age of 60. And from there, we've opened up a number of clinics. We're part of a 25 clinic group that's in California, Arizona, North Carolina, and hopefully the next year in Wyoming. So I basically work with all the young doctors and try to get them set up in their clinics. But the one thing I've noticed through my whole career is I've always had mentors, and I've always been part of a process of networking. And the one thing I'm doing right now is I'm playing it forward. I work with One Future as I'm the co-chair of the Business Engagement Committee. I'm also the co-chair of the Gents Alliance, which tries to work with young at-risk men, boys in junior high and high school to get them through high school and into college. And what I've been very fortunate working with a lot of great people like Kimberly is we have a wonderful group of people, cohort, that is now playing it forward. And by that, I mean, we have college graduates that we've worked with that are coming back to work with our high school students. We've got high school students that are working with our junior high students, and in order to get them on the path that they can see a little bit more clearly about what's out there for them, and hopefully maybe find something that they have a passion for in their life too. But that's why I'm a big proponent of networking. I probably hired thousands of people in my corporate career during that 25 years. And the one thing I noticed was that the people who had mentors and had been in a networking, they had been exposed to a lot more than somebody that just came out of college. And I'll give you some that some people may not agree with me. That's fine. Everybody thinks of Harvard as being one of the top universities, and it is. But the only thing that sets Harvard apart from a lot of the other schools is not their curriculum or the education you get. The fact that it is a networking university. That's what you learn to do at Harvard. You don't learn anything different than anybody at the University of California, Cal State San Bernardino, USC. But what you do learn is networking. And that came very clear to me early on when I first started hiring people, especially when I hired some Ivy League lawyers. At that time, I was the consultant to the CEO of State Farm, and I was in charge of the legal in the United States. And so I went out and tried to hire some of the best defense counsel we could find. And every one of them understood what networking was and understood what mentoring was. So that's why I think it's so important in your career. And it's also important to play it forward into the next generation too that you work with.
Thank you so much. And thank you for expressing the importance of networking. It's coming from business professionals like you, it just means so much. Sometimes I feel like a mom, I say it till I'm blue in the face, but really hearing it from you and how you want to hire people that have made connections with people, it really means a lot. So thank you.
And we all have younger siblings, or I have my kid, in my case, grandkids. I try to get them involved as early as junior high and high school, understand how important it is to have mentoring, a good coach, a good teacher, somebody that they can go to when they want to go to their family. And that's what's going on right now, I think, with a lot of our young people in junior high and high school. We're trying to find them mentors, and so that they can go and bounce things off that mentor. And no, I don't care what stage of your career. Well into the corporate world, I had mentors all over the United States that I could call on. And believe me, it was very important to bounce things off of people.
I agree completely. One of the things that we like to really encourage with connections and earning their certificate in networking is after meeting somebody in an event. Each event, we once we can get out there, we ask that they meet two people and continue contact after via email, phone calls, whatever it may be, at least a couple times. And then say, this is a scenario I had, what would you do in this situation? And I just think that that's an example of mentoring and networking. Just as, we really want to emphasize that. So I just thank you so much. Great. Well, hang out for some questions and answers, and that'll be great. And Gary Lopez, can you give us some career path words of wisdom?
I can give you a career path. Words of wisdom? Maybe. Thank you, Kimberly, very much for allowing me to be a part of this. I think it's really, really important to share the wealth, share the knowledge that we all have, and everybody has something that they can bring to the table, no matter what their age, level of experience. But to be a part of this is energizing and inspiring to myself also. So good afternoon, everyone. Gary Lopez, G. Gary's Visions, and I do visuals, concept to completion. Meaning graphic design, photography, videography, and I just bought a drone and took my first flight, on Saturday. So lots of fun. Really recommend that. Real quick, personal background. I've been doing graphics when I was a kid. I was watching Saturday morning cartoons. And I learned very, very quickly that Saturday morning cartoons were over 11 o'clock. We didn't have Cartoon Network back then. And so I ended up sitting down and drawing my own cartoons. And from there, I got older and started doing, somebody would say, oh, you write real nice. Here, sign this for me, and or write this up for me. I started doing signage. I did calligraphy. I did my cousin's wedding invitations inside and outside envelopes, 200 of them. A lot of this over the weekend, as you can imagine. Even glass etching. None of this was professional. It was just things that I was doing and I enjoyed it. And it really didn't get professional until I Lost my job in 1990 at Patel Toys. I'd been there for 5 years when we had that recession. Most of you are going, 1990, really? There was a world before then. Yes. And it was, I saw an ad in the paper for graphic design school, got grants and loans, and went to Platt College out in Ontario. Graduated the 9-month course. They hired me as the teacher's aide right after that, immediately, where I experienced the epiphany of understanding why teachers do what they do. I was helping a young lady with a Mac SE, the ones that were all combined. It was a screen and the whole unit was all together. And I was explaining the hierarchical filing system to her. Don't worry about that. And she suddenly looked up at me and she says, oh, I see, because this does that, and because of that, this is this way. I said, exactly, you got it. And she said, thank you so much. And I said, that's what I'm here for, glad to do it. Wow, I walked away and I just went, oh my gosh, just that idea that I just gave someone knowledge and that I had given her something that can't be taken away, it can't be taxed, and it's a foundation that could take her anywhere she wanted to go with something like that, just that part of it. And I realized that, and it's just like, wow. And I actually developed an axiom in my life, a saying from that experience, in that impartation of knowledge is its own reward. And I found myself in that capacity of teaching since then, and realized that from the feedback I got, I guess I'm good at it, but I really enjoy it. And so often people will say, oh my gosh, you were so good at it. And I always tell them, well, you know what? It's the material. It's really good material. And, I just present it well. I'm the messenger more than anything else. So flash forward to 1995, I moved out here to the desert to get a job with a printer. Learned about that, and I was fortunate enough to move from there onto design studios. And I was with Mark Palmer Design at the time when the Sun buses had their logos changed. Some of you remember that. Some of you weren't even born yet. But that was around 98, I believe that was. And then Fantasy Springs Casino. We designed their logo, the original one. They've since redesigned it. Worked for the Jones Agency, so I had the spa resort and casino as a client, the downtown casino. But so much learning so much through all that experience. From there, I moved here to be closer to the job down in the desert. Then I got a job at Pachanga as the art director. So, I'm here and now I'm moving out there. So anyway, I did that for about a year and came back here and been freelancing ever since 2000. In 2005, I joined an organization called BNI, Business Network International, and understood from the very beginning that this was like, wow. I went to my first meeting. I said, I get it. All these people in this room are my sales force and I don't have to pay them. Where do I sign? Here's my check, take my money. And the main part of that is that what I learned through BNI and about business connecting and networking has been invaluable. And I tell people, except for starting my business, BNI is absolutely the best thing I ever did for my business. With the GCV and people like Kimberly being right up there with that because they understand networking. Networking is the factor that will absolutely catapult you to wherever you need to go. And where do you want to go? Where's where your path, where you want it to lead. Knowing people, building a deep, wide network is key to success. It will get you there faster. It'll get you there easier. So often, if anybody here has been to a mixer, a business mixer, and it's all about, drop your card in the glass bowl, pay your $5, now go make money. Well, better networking than that is to go and to ask people about what they do. When I started going to mixers, I started asking people, I said, hey, so what's a good referral for you? What should I listen for to find good business for you? And that's so counterintuitive. People are like, oh, really? You want to know about me? You're not going to try to pitch me on something? No. If you want to know about me, you'll ask. But I want to know about you. How can I help you get more business? That's what BNI is based on. And that's been carried through to the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber. So many aspects of both of those organizations overlap. So for me, they absolutely mesh. And it has grown my network from the chapters of BNI out here to the, 1,600 members, I believe, of GCV, possibly, and beyond, and obviously connections. a whole nother aspect of that. But again, networking and having the tenacity to stay with it. Because as we mentioned before, we alluded to the fact, you fall down 7 times, you get up 8 times. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Don't sell yourself short. Make sure you understand your worth. That's very, very important when you're moving forward, because people will tell you, oh, well, will you do it for this? Well, you need to have a point where you say, no, I can't do it for that. And I've had business where people say, well, that's all. Okay, no problem. Thanks anyway. Appreciate your interest. So again, it's about making connections, and it's making those connections and always being accountable for any referrals that you do receive, and building that deep, wide network. That will absolutely take you to wherever you need to go. So as far as I go with my business, I always tell people, if you want to look great, call 760-218-1938. I wish you all the best in every endeavor that you take on. And Kimberly, thank you very much for allowing me this time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gary, for speaking.
My pleasure.
Sharing your story. It's so awesome. One thing, there's lots of little Garyisms that you have said, little nuggets that you said through the years that have really stuck in my mind. And one that was so mind-blowing to me was, you said when you're at a mixer and you're talking, it's so scary for people when they've never met these people. You walk into a room, you don't know anybody, and you know the importance of going, but how scary. And you had said that if you stand side by side and you look at somebody, give them the proper eye contact, but keep the body posture open so everyone always feels welcome. Yes. I just remember thinking that was just such a beautiful thing, because I know how many times that we all walked in a room and people are huddled because they're so comfortable with each other. They've built these, and so to have that, to know, because that's what mixers are for. That's what ribbon cuttings are for. That's what charity functions and networking are for, is to welcome people and to connect. So it was such a, for such a small little thing that should be so obvious, it never was to me. That was just such a, and I changed my posture from every networking event after that, because I want everybody always to feel welcome, of course. So it was such a gift. I wanted to always thank you for that. But you've got a lot of little nuggets along the way, but that was a really good one, I thought.
Wow, thank you for that. Appreciate the acknowledgement of that, and anything that helps somebody else is always good, to say the least.
Great. So we'll be doing questions and answers in a little bit here. So if you could hang on. And our third and final speaker today is Roshan Patel. We've worked and volunteered together several times. So we'd love to hear your career path story, Mr. Roshan.
Hi guys, thank you for having me, Kimberly. Great job, Gary and Bob. I wanted to go first because I didn't want to follow you guys, and then due to faulty equipment, I'm like, okay, I'm here third after you guys. But no, I appreciate it, and I'm glad that everybody was here to make it. A little bit about myself. My family's been down here since '82. My dad was actually an aeronautical engineer, and during that time, there wasn't many little protections for employees, and he broke his knee and ended up starting a photography business. And we were doing school photography ever since. So he had nobody. He didn't have a network. He had to build that network on his own. And with me growing up, it was supposed to be 2 years here in the desert and then moving the family back to Canada. That didn't happen. We stayed down here and went into a completely different industry, which was photography. And through that, it was school photography, going from elementary all the way up to college and post-grad. And through that, we had to meet a lot of different people. And that wasn't just my dad doing that on his own. We had to be professional enough at a very young age to not be those rambunctious kids, but then also seeing how my dad would act and my mom would act when we were being rambunctious. But we were fortunate enough to be exposed to how my dad operated with just making friends, and that's what it was. I didn't realize the whole networking term until after college, when I moved back, and it just kind of clicked when I had my first networking event. When I moved back, it was with the Palm Desert Chamber, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, it's just meeting people and then continuing that relationship outside of the school or the institution. And from there, that's when my life really changed, because I came back, there was another recession, and that was 2008. couldn't really find a job. I was fortunate enough to have a family business, but I knew from the get-go when I moved back that I didn't want to take it over. The percentage of that family-owned business for that to succeed and not have the child completely run that into the ground is actually really high. And we had a lot of people that depended on us to put food on the table, and I didn't want to put that in jeopardy if my whole heart wasn't in it. So I had that difficult conversation with my father saying, hey, this is my plan, that I'm going to put my all into it, but it's not going to be taking over the business. It's going to be learning as much as I can to help build up the business and then find what I want to do. But I knew that I couldn't get that from my father. I had to find other mentors, other people in different industries that I wanted to be in. And where this valley was going, tourism was a huge part of our community. And I held out for it. And that's where I went into sales with the Living Desert Zoo and Garden. And I wasn't selling animals. I wasn't on the black market, not doing any of that stuff, but it was getting more people knowing that there is a zoo and a park that was out here that provided a necessary service for endangered animals. And I did that for 6.5 years. And during that time, I got to meet so many different people, not only in the tourism industry, but with a lot of the economic drivers of this valley, with agriculture, with medical, with high-end retail, with any sort of retail. But seeing how this valley was booming and bolstering, it still happened. We did take a big hit, but in the 2008 recession and what's happening right now, but that network that I had kept me going. It allowed me to see how I could diversify my talents into different industries and how that went into play. So I've been in sales my entire life, but it was with the network that allowed me to find these different opportunities. Yeah, there's Indeed and LinkedIn and things like that. But with the Living Desert, with Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce, and then moving over to Palm Springs Life, that all had to deal with people that I've met on my journey while I was growing my professional career. So, and it was just simple conversations, the real conversations, and it's genuine that you're wanting to learn about an industry and wanting to learn about that person and their journey, because people like to talk about themselves. My mouth's getting dry right now just with everything with my story. So, but that's the thing. People like to talk, and listening is one of the hardest skills that to learn. And that was one of the hardest things for me to learn, was to just be quiet, listen to them, but then also have that follow-up question, or that drill down is what I like to say, that kind of gets them to talk a little bit more about what their career path, or what they're working on, or what Gary was talking about finding out who's a good referral, because that conversation could come in full turn about how you could help them professionally, or there's the next professional move, or what you're looking for in your next professional move. But being a good listener is really hard, but once you nail that down of just that critical listening power, it goes a very long way into moving the conversation forward, but also more importantly, moving the relationship forward. That's it. That was hard for me, because I was usually shy, but you won't get that now. It's just really weird, but I think the biggest thing is just saying hi, just putting yourself out there is the biggest step. So it's great to see you guys on this call and taking our advice and just allowing us to share our stories.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Roshan. Thank you. I have to tell everybody, Roshan and I, we volunteered together at the Coachella Valley History Museum. It's located in Indio.
I'm Indian. But yeah, born in India.
But it is the whole valley, and so I got to really know Roshan then, and we just really had such an appreciation for this amazing valley and all the people it's taken to get it going and where it is now. And so it was so much fun volunteering with you there, and of course working with you later. So
I appreciate it, Kimberly.
Absolutely. Thank you for speaking today. So before we get to the Q&A, we like to do a little tiny bit of practice networking. So everybody who's not a speaker today, I'll go around and ask you to all you have to do is say your name and where you either work where you go to school or where you graduated from. Just one little liner, just a little introduction. So if we could start with Caroline.
Hi, everyone. My name is Caroline Polly. I graduated in 2019 from the College of William & Mary in Virginia, and I'm the social media coordinator at the Palm Springs International Film Society.
Thank you, Caroline. And Sophia.
Hello, everyone. It was really nice hearing all your stories. My name is Sophia Franz, and I am currently a sophomore at College of the Desert.
Thank you. And Edra.
Hello, my name is Edra Izzo, and I am self-employed, I guess, right? I do Rise with Edra Izzo now, and also Rizzo Strategic Solutions.
Yes, Miss Entrepreneur. And Kayleen.
Hi, I'm Kayleen. I recently graduated Northern Arizona University, and now I work for AmeriCorps.
As of today. So excited.
Mom, stop.
Oh, yay. And Melanie.
Hello, everybody. My name is Melanie Perez. I am the owner of SBF Payroll Coachella Valley Branch.
Thank you. Amazing young businesswoman there. And Alek.
Hi, I'm Alek. I'm a recent grad from Arizona State University. I got a degree in supply chain management, and I'm currently looking for jobs in the LA, South Pasadena area.
Awesome. Thank you, Alek. Recent graduate. We're so proud. And Jerry and Mitchell are both joining us today. If you both, Jerry, if you could say your name and the company that you came from, and he's a future speaker on one of our career path stories. Super excited to have him here.
I realize that I'm no longer a member of the current young generation, which I still consider myself. And I'm listening to everybody. You're all go-getters. I am so impressed. Yeah, sales all my life. I've been in sales all my life. I've been in sales since junior high. I tried to sell myself to get a girlfriend. I failed. It's okay to fail. It took me many years to finally get one, and now I've got a wonderful wife. But if I wouldn't have failed, if I wouldn't have kept looking, I wouldn't have been able to fulfill my potential. Networking, it is the most important thing. Putting your face out there. What makes you different from everybody else? How do you distinguish who's going to move up and who isn't? You don't have a second opportunity to make a first impression. And everybody on this Zoom video has made a tremendous impression on me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. And Mitch, tell us your name and company.
Yeah, greetings. Boy, this was very interesting. This excites me when I hear these people talk about where they came from, how they got there, and it's kind of something that gets me going. I think I've been in the desert almost all my life, and started working at a very young age. And I just was always, it was the ABCs, you know, always be closing. And it was just that someone had said earlier, and I don't know who it was, about, you know, an opportunity, whether it's something I wanted or not. If it was an opportunity and I saw it, I would do it, you know, and it was just great. Now I'm kind of semi-retired. I have a plant healthcare company. I take care of trees and landscape and whatnot, and it's just me and myself, and I love doing it because I meet very interesting people.
Thank you, Mitch. I'm going to sign you up for a date too. To tell
Very
you
well. I'd love to do it. Not,
right.
But don't put me with Jerry, because after you hear Jerry, you guys will go wah wah wah. And I come on. So.
All right, so we're going to go around with the Konnectees. We've just got a little bit of time left to ask questions. Caroline, do you have any questions for our speakers today?
I have a question specifically for Roshan. If you could talk a little bit more about your position and what selling digital media means in the context of Palm Springs life, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah. So Palm Springs Life is known as a publication. So as digital advertising sort of came into play and everything like that, they were looking at obviously adding that into their or sponsored post on their Twitter feed or Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. We actually have now, excuse me, full funnel strategies that include SEO, SEM, device ID, geofencing, and putting specific strategies together that pertain to a client's goals. Like every business is different and their strategies will differ, but we're able to do a look back and identify their audience. And if they happen to not know it yet, a lot of businesses say they do know their target, but they are surprised with some of the findings that we're able to pull off when we're able to do a look back at their primary audience. And then from there, we'll put a strategy together that would include one of those, and then also like pre-roll on YouTube or running a commercial on streaming video or streaming radio. So it's definitely comprehensive of what we're able to do now with the technology that's readily available to us.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, both of you. Sophia, do you have a question for any of the three speakers today?
Any questions for anybody? These are all amazing stories to listen to, and it was just amazing to listen to your stories and meet you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you for sharing your stories.
Right, and Roshan, do you know who Sophia's daughter is? No.
I'm just gonna take a wild guess. She had something to do with the History Museum and everything else within the valley as well.
Actually, I'm part of the museum's youth advisory board. We're helping build the garden where the old apartments used to be on the property.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, very nice. Good job.
That is great. Wonderful. Edra, do you have a question for any of our three speakers?
No, thank you. But thank you guys all for getting I know a lot of the speakers, but I didn't know all of the details. So now it's exciting.
It really is. I love hearing the stories. Melanie, how about you? Do you have a question for any of the three speakers?
No, I appreciate everybody here on the call. And yeah, it was awesome getting to hear everyone's stories in more depth. So thanks, guys.
How about you, Alek? Any questions for our three speakers?
No, but again, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. And I guess it was just nice to hear about, like, I think a little bit of an overall theme, and that Jerry definitely brought up was just persistence. And that's just something nice to keep in mind as I'm looking for jobs and just planning my future.
Great, thank you, Alek. And I think I typed in, I don't know if I got it right, Gary, I want to make sure. Impartation of knowledge is its own reward?
Correct, yeah. The impartation of knowledge is its own reward.
Love that. Okay, I'm sitting in, I didn't, yeah.
So if you ever hear that saying somewhere, you can now say, I know who said it first. One really, really good networking tip is to, when you get someone's name, use it. Use their name. People love hearing their name.
Bob, I wanted to say real quick too, before I forgot, my husband after it wasn't post-surgery, it was a back thing, went into Avid, and some of the intern helped with his physical therapy. And he was so impressed with your whole team, the interns, how the mentoring was occurring as he was there. He wears the t-shirt, he feels better. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Oh, thanks.
It's taking pain away is a change of life for sure.
I'm really proud of our interns. One of the things that we started doing about 8 years ago was working with the high school health and medical academies. And their last year, they come and intern in our clinics. And to give you an example, approximately 80% of our techs and our aides while they're going through college are from the high school medical academies. Now we hire them on a part-time basis to allow them to, obviously make some money, but it helps them to network, because you would not believe some of the different patients that come in, all the way from professional ball players to some CEOs of some pretty big companies that live up in the vintage, so to speak. And so they get a chance to network too. And that's the one thing I teach them the first day. I don't worry about teaching them what's going on with the HR and all this other stuff, as I tell them, this is a great chance to network, you guys, just like we've been talking about for 3 years. And so it's helped them along. Yep.
I love that. I love that. Kayleen, do you have any questions?
Sorry, I'm in the woods. I guess if I do have a question, I was motivated throughout finding your career today. Yeah,
She's out in the woods, so it's a little stuttered.
that's all
she
for
said
all three, I guess.
she wanted to know all three of you. What kept you motivated to go towards your current career? How about you, Bob?
You know, I tried retirement for 6 months, and I'm one of these personalities where I've got to be involved in the community, and I need some challenges. And you know, I turned 70 this year.
Congratulations!
And, thank you. And you know, I've often, some of the guys I play golf with, you know, they're all retired, and they say, well, when are you going to come out and play every day? I said, I love golf, guys, but you know what? I get really bored after 9 holes. Okay, so I'd much rather have another type of challenge. So I'm going to continue. I found something I have a passion for, not only for the communities we work with, but for the patients that we work with. And I'm just going to continue to work. That's just the way I am.
I love it. Well, you're a blessing to the patients and the mentees. Absolutely. Jerry had his finger up.
Can I add one thing to that?
Sure.
Staying enthusiastic. If you're doing what you love, it isn't work. It is so much fun. It is so rewarding. We all started out with a job, but we end up with a career. Follow your passion. Make every day that you go to work better than your day off. It'll serve you well.
Great tip. Great
Here,
tip.
here.
All right. How about you, Roshan?
Well, I gotta go. What motivated me the most was I have a kid and another kid on the way. I like to have fun. I like to eat really good food, and I love Disneyland and Universal Studios. I love to travel. I like to have a good time. I like to spend my money on things that I shouldn't be spending money on. But I like to enjoy my life, and that motivates me to make sure that I meet as many people as I can, but I also help them. I am staying in the Valley. I don't have any plans moving from the Valley, and I like living out here. What also helps me is I get to help other businesses help promote and get new business and get more people to move down here, get more people to spend money down here. That just makes it a better place for me to live because I get to go travel and then come back to a vacation destination to live in.
And how about you, Gary?
Well, I'm going to echo what Jerry said, that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And that was pretty attractive to me back when the last recession, I lost my job at Mattel Toys. You know, I was surrounded by toys and shipping toys and stuff like that, but decided to make graphics a profession. Knew I'd be starting at the bottom of the rung, but no problem. Done it since then, having a great time. Like Roshan was saying, you know, and enjoying it, love making my own hours. And just the fact that I work for myself and instead of someone else. And it's nice having that control and being able to take off when I want to, making my own hours. But on top of everything else is helping people, like Roshan was saying. It feels good to solve a problem. I think that we're here on this earth to help each other more than anything else. And I know that when we have concentrated efforts as a collective, we do so much better and get so much more done. So thank you, Kimberly, for putting this together on top of everything else, because this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about with that type of endeavor that benefits everybody.
I love it. Thank you so much. Well, I admire all of you. You all inspire me. You all make me just want to connect you with this next generation and you guys with the businesses and it's happening and magic happens. And that's one common denominator that I've seen in each one of these workshops or Zoom sessions or whatever you want to call them is it's the connections and the inspiration from just all getting to know each other. And I'm so thankful that you all took your valuable time. So all of you Konnectees, please reach out, ask questions, soak up their knowledge, and have a great week, all of you. And you all inspire me. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Take care,
Thank you,
all.
guys. Have a great
Thanks,
evening.
everybody.
Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.